Hi there, Davey Cretin from Cretin Classics. Unfortunately, I'm here to do another tribute video. We lost another great one today. The day I'm taping this, it's the 10th of October, 2025, and at 82 years old, we lost John Charles Lodge, best known for being the bassist, singer-songwriter from the Moody Blues. He was born 20th of July, 1943, born in Birmingham, England. He had a 60-year career, actually more than 60 years, from 1965 to 2025. So that's a very long career, 6 decades in the music business. More on the music business later on in this video. In 1966, he joined the Moody Blues around the same time that Justin Hayward joined. Now, John Lodge replaced their original bass player singer, Clint Warwick, who was on the first album, and Justin Hayward replaced Denny Laine, probably best known from Wings. And these guys were on every Moody Blues album from the second one up. I'll go through the Moody Blues albums later, show off some CDs I have here. Now, getting to the songs, I mean, he wrote and co-wrote so many songs during his time with the Moody Blues. I'm just going to hit some highlights here and songs that I personally really enjoy. Evening, Time to Get Away, a classic from way back in the 60s. Great song. Arguably his biggest hit, or one of his two biggest hits, Ride My Seesaw, is another one, huge song for him. Isn't Life Strange won him an award, songwriting award. I'm Just a Singer, and then in parentheses, in a rock and roll band, one of the most played Moody Blues songs on classic rock radio. Moving on, after their little hiatus, Steppin' in a Slide Zone from the comeback album, Octave. And I happen to have a CD of Octave right here. I didn't take the booklet out of the jewel case because this is an import remaster with 5 bonus tracks. Instead of the 10 songs, it has 15 songs. So there is my remaster of Octave. Underrated album probably in the Moody Blues catalog. A little unusual, a little different, because they came back 6 years later after Seventh Sojourn in 72. More on that after. Getting back to the songs, Talking Out of Turn, Nervous, one of my myriad theme songs. Sitting at the Wheel, from this album, The Present, and once again, with the hype sticker still on the jewel case, I have an import remaster with 2 bonus tracks. So Sitting at the Wheel, one of my favorite Moody Blues songs, by the way. Just rocks, the vocals on it from John Lodge, the keyboards from Patrick Moraz, who played with them in the late 70s through the early 90s. Great song. If you don't know Sitting at the Wheel, check it out. Excellent song. Moving on, he also co-wrote Gemini Dream and sings co-lead vocals on it with Justin Hayward from the previous album to the one I just showed you, Long Distance Voyager. And that won an award too for him. Now, John Lodge was married to Kirsten, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, from the 12th of September, 1968 until he passed away today. So having an almost 60-year marriage in the rock and roll business, nothing to sneeze at. What a feat. They had 2 children together, his son Christian with a K, and his daughter Emily. Emily dated John Davison, the current singer of Yes. I'm not sure if they're still together, but at one point they were a couple. And that's how John Davison from Yes got to know, of course, John Lodge. And he guested on some of his stuff and even sang with him when John Lodge toured solo after the Moody sort of split up. Now, here's a fascinating thing I did not know. John Lodge spoke in public about being an evangelical Christian and how it saved him from the perils of rock and roll decadence. So, religion can be a good thing. And it saved him from the excess of drugs, etc. You know, that whole bad scene that goes with the rock and roll business. Told you I'd bring it full circle. 2018, the Moody Blues were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Of course, John Lodge was inducted with them. 2018, this band started in 1964. What the heck took the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame so darn long to put the Moody Blues into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? But I don't want to go off on a rant because this is a tribute. So thank goodness that John Lodge was there to get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because some of the other Moodies had passed away and they should have been inducted way earlier. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox. Sorry. It just makes me so mad how foolish the people who were involved in nominating and putting in people into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame are. I'm going to move on, sorry. A year later in 2019, Prog Magazine, which is a magazine I love and have been getting for years, I have a subscription to it, comes from England. They gave John Lodge the Lifetime Achievement Award at the annual Prog Awards in London. Now, there are 15 Moody Blues studio albums. Before I read them off to you, I just want to show you the Moody Blues Anthology. This is a great 2-CD set, which has probably 30-something songs on it. Let's see. I have the lights dim, so 17. 33 songs on it. A lot of great songs on here. So if you need a starter kit for the Moody Blues Anthology, or maybe a best of, is the way to go. Okay, let me grab my iPad here. I don't want to make any mistakes. The Moody Blues discography here, the second album that John Lodge was on. The first Moody Blues album he was on, it's actually the second Moody Blues album from 1967, Days of Future Past. 1968, In Search of the Lost Chord. 1969, On the Threshold of a Dream. Another record in 1969. Back then, artists used to do 2 records per year sometimes. To Our Children's Children. 1970, A Question of Balance. 1971, Every Good Boy Deserves Favor. 1972, the aforementioned Seventh Sojourn. And then the band took a break. Now, these albums I just mentioned, in Moody Blues lore for fans, they're known as the Sensational Seven. And they're all great classic albums. Are they prog rock? Are they classic rock? Are they psychedelic rock? They're a bit of everything. And they have amazing songs on them. All the guys sang. All of the guys wrote songs. So this was one of those bands where you'd hear different voices, you'd get different points of view, and the whole musical stew of the Moody Blues was awesome. And it's a shame they stopped when they did, because they were still making some decent music. Sounded a little different from the classic stuff, but there's still good stuff in there. Because when I was born, and the first album that I bought, I'm going to mention it in a moment. Moving on, after the break, they came back 1978 with Octave. Now, Mike Pinder, who unfortunately passed away 18 months ago, very sad, I did a tribute for him too. Great mellotron player, great keyboard player, singer-songwriter. Don't want to go off on that tangent. I did the tribute to him. You can find it here on my channel. Mike Pinder did not come back. Well, he was sort of on Octave. He was a little bit on Octave, but he wasn't. They got Patrick Morazin, who had played with Yes, a bunch of other bands. Then in 1981, they released Long Distance Voyager. That is the first Moody Blues album I bought. I think either right after it or right before it. I think it was right after it I bought Caught Live +5 on vinyl, the double live CD with some studio songs on it. Then 1983, I showed you The Present. 1986, The Other Side of Life. 1988, Sur la Mer. 1991, Keys of the Kingdom. 1999, Strange Times. And 2003, the last project that the band did together was a Christmas album. Do you count that as a Moody Blues record, as a studio album? I guess I would. And I did hear that back in my record store days. So that's the Moody Blues discography that John Lodge was on. Now, John Lodge himself, besides those 15 Moody Blues studio records, he made a record during the Moody Blues hiatus from 72 until they came back in 78 with Justin Hayward in 1975 called Blue Jays. So that's sort of his first solo album, first dual solo album for each of them maybe. 1977, he released an album called Natural Avenue. 2015, a long time between solo records, 10,000 Light Years Ago. Days of Future Past, My Sojourn. See what he did there? Took two Moody's album titles, put them together. Came out in 2023. And then in 2025, Valentine's Day of this year, he put out an EP called Love Conquers All. So he's got a few solo records, had a few singles also. And I'm glad that I got to see the Moody Blues. I think I saw them twice. Definitely a Westbury Music Fair here in New York. I'm from New York, as if you can't tell from my New York accent. And I think I also saw them one time at Jones Beach. But I've seen so many shows in my lifetime, it's impossible to remember every one. My sister claims I saw the Eagles with her. I have no memory of seeing that concert. Go figure. But I'm glad I did get to see the Moody's. At least Westbury Music Fair was an excellent show. My friend Joanne and my friend Teal are unfortunately the ones who told me that John Lodge passed today. So it's a sad day in rock and roll because this guy was a force with the Moody Blues. Really good bass player because he held it down. He had memorable bass lines. He wrote songs. He sang songs. Guy was a multi-talented man. So I want to say rest in peace, John Lodge. Thank you for all the wonderful music that you've given us. And we'll always have your music to listen to. And of course, condolences to Mr. Lodge's family, his friends, all the musicians, his fellow musicians that he ever played with, and his fans throughout the world. So I just wanted to say, rest in peace, John. Thanks for the music. I'm Davey Cretin for Cretin Classics. Thank you. Bye-bye.